We're going to move on now to our next guest, which is Greg from, brilliant name of company, Forbidden Technologies. Greg, thank you for coming on. Tell us a little bit about, first of all, Forbidden Technologies and what it is that you guys do.
Well, we've been a pioneer in producing cloud-based tools in the broadcast post arena. We've been doing this since the very early years of the century.
Right.
We launched our prime product for scene in 2004 at IBC. Right. So we've had a long history of coming here.
Yeah.
Basically, we provide cloud-based services, cloud-based tools to broadcasters, news and sports people. Yeah.
So this is, from what I understand, for example, a cloud-based editing system.
Yeah.
You can do what you would expect you could do on a laptop or a workstation, but we're talking cloud-based here.
Yeah.
Trying to get my head around how this could actually work. So give us an idea of how you can edit something on the cloud.
Okay, well obviously you've got to get your material in the first place.
Yeah.
It doesn't work if you can't.
No, sure.
And so we have a whole host of different ways of doing that. A lot of partnerships.
Sure.
So we typically partner with facilities houses, the people in Soho, the people in the main broadcast centres.
Yeah.
And they will actually ingest, and when they ingest stuff, take it in, take the high resolution material in, they'll push a low resolution copy up to our cloud at the same time. So their clients can then start to work on that, organize it, add data to it, put who said what, to whom, when, and all that becomes searchable.
Right.
So where you're talking of unscripted television, observational documentary shows or reality shows or whatever it might be, those guys can then go and find the shots that they want to make the story.
Right.
So it's all about story editing at the front and getting those shots together. And then typically in that environment, we pass on to a craft edit afterwards.
Yeah.
So we're sending back what's called an edit decision list, an EDL, back into the facility from the cloud for finishing, to go out somewhere else.
So I can already see possible benefits to this, but give us an idea what the benefits are of actually working with a cloud-based system like this.
Well, it's really, really wide area collaboration. So it's a workflow that used to be centered around a centralized edit suite, which all of a sudden becomes completely wide area.
Right.
You want lots of people involved, they can be involved. They can be reviewing, they can be adding further logging information, all of those good things. And you can collaborate centrally and with someone in the field.
Right.
So if you haven't got a shot that you want, you can see the shot isn't there, and you can say, while the guys are still on the shoot, as you review those dailies, go get me this one before he shaves his beard off.
Gotcha, understood. So you can have multiple people anywhere around the world. This is completely web-based. You don't need any software installed on the
You don't need any software installed. Provided you've got a browser, on the Mac you've got in front of you there, take that, fire up your browser, log in securely, obviously. There's a security level you've got to get through. We use the same security as the banks use for that.
Sure.
But then you've got access immediately to your account with the materials in it. You can start work.
So I'd say normally this would have been focused in an edit suite, and you've got an editor who knows that software, this piece of software inside out, doing the editing. Now we're talking about putting out to people who aren't necessarily editors.
Absolutely.
But still want to have this functionality to be able to choose shots, to be able to put shots down, to be able to send an EDL to a full-blown editor. How easy is something like this for a non-trained editor to be able to access and get to?
Really fundamental part of what we do is to make it as approachable as possible. The majority of our users are either not really skilled craft editors or they're what are called predators, producer editors. So they're going to be coming to this without a background in craft edit. They need to have an interface which is drag and drop, the way we normally use a computer. Or now with Android, finger and drop, which is the way that we use it. So that's how we've structured it. It's two levels. If you're one of those, you'll probably use the drag and drop interface. But if you're someone who is very familiar with the craft edit, we also have all of the keyboard shortcuts implemented within the system. So the stuff that would be familiar to an Avid editor or a Final Cut Pro editor is there as well.
Understood. Now, obviously you're well known in post-production for doing this. News and sport is a big area these days. Does it work well in that arena?
Works very well. I mean, one of the things that we introduced over the last few years is the ability to handle a growing file feed, so a live stream coming into the system. And our biggest contract to date was a really very big one indeed. It was London 2012, where we found ourselves working with NBC and with YouTube to provide a video-on-demand cutting platform for all of the editors that were cutting video-on-demand for NBCOlympics.com. 50 of them in 30 Rockefeller Plaza in New York City, mainly interns, interestingly. So those guys had a very steep learning curve, but they learned real quick. We got on and we did it. Produced about 3,500 hours of clips over the period of time. Same thing for the IOC 64 as it was called.
Yeah.
And now coming into this year, we're working with one of those partners that we made through that contract, Delta Tray in Turin, to do the same thing for the European Tour, the golf. So if you go to European Tour, the golf sites, you'll be seeing clips that are used, cut from our platform. Lots of feeds coming in, editors in different locations, not needing to travel to the courses. They meant to like that, but it's a lot more cost effective not to.
Absolutely.
But cutting that and putting it out. So big presence in sport. News is a different matter. News for us, we do a lot of web repurposing for news. So I have a client in the US who's got us into 60 US TV stations.
Right.
We take the live feed, they use the platform to cut the top news hours, cut some capsules from there, push those back onto the station website and advertise. So that's a really fast turnaround, wide area, collaborative edit, all the good things that we're able to do. And it happens regularly, 24/7, 365.
Brilliant. Now, the cloud is one of the buzzwords this year. 4K is another buzzword this year, and it's one of those areas that's going to only get bigger and bigger. 3D disappeared, 4K looks as though it's going to be here to stay. And you guys are a cloud-based solution. How will that work when producers and broadcasters start moving over to a 4K workflow?
You know, to us it won't really make very much difference because we're not using the original high-resolution materials to edit in the cloud in the first place. What we'll probably do is produce a higher resolution proxy for them to work on. So, they can see the focus pulls better, they can see the detail that is in 4K, which is marvelous, incidentally. I'm a big fan of 4K. But for us, it's just another step along the way. We'll introduce a new set of codecs, and it will work in the way that it's working now.
And one of the advantages, obviously, being a cloud-based system is you can just keep adding functionality to this very easily.
We can.
And it's across the board.
It's across the board. Because you haven't got any installed software. There's no concept of version control from the user's point of view. We do all the version control for you. It's like logging onto Google and doing a search. You don't expect that Google won't be doing the same search.
Absolutely. So if people are interested in this, how has it worked on a purchasing point of view? Is it a licensed per user?
It's a hybrid cloud model as we describe it. So we are software as a service. You can pay as you go. Very attractive for those who don't want a big capital outlay at the beginning. The one thing you'd have to buy is an annual license for the software to get the materials into the cloud in the first place. Even that's annual. It isn't a 5-year view. It isn't some enormous license in perpetuity. So there's some really good start points. A couple $100 per user per month for US clients. 125 sterling about for clients in the UK. It's very approachable. It's very attainable.
Brilliant. Greg, thank you very much. If people want to come and talk to you here, we've still got 2 days left of the show, and they're around the Amsterdam area. Whereabouts will they find you here?
In Hall 7, 7J15D is our prime location, but we're also at IBC TV News. Brilliant. So you can go across there, and we're showing our news workflows up there.
Excellent.
So either of those.
Brilliant. And of course, lots of people out there watching can't get to Amsterdam and want to find out more about your services. Is there a website they can go to?
There is indeed. Go to www.foreseen.co.uk to have a look at information, and forbidden.co.uk for stuff about the company.
Greg, thank you very much for coming on and talking about Forbidden Technologies. It sounds like a fantastic technology. I even have to log in and have a look at this myself. So go and find their stand. Again, I'll say it now, it's 47J15D, or IBC TV, of course, have it as well. And of course, their website, the one I've got in front of me is forbidden.co.uk. I'm sure you can link to everything they do from that anyway.
I'll be